Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. In today's video we're going to be going over Seibugeki 13. It was a major that happened this weekend in Japan, and though it wasn't as crazy as Collision was, because I don't think any tournament's going to be like that, at least for a while, my heart can't take it, there was still a lot of very cool stuff that happened over here. Our 13th place finishers were Kome, Noi, Oi George, and Gachapi. Our 9th place finishers were Aka, Shogun, Kananebe, and Jigaimo. 7th place we had Umeki and Suinoko. 5th place we had Niyotono and Gak. In 4th place we had Aim. 3rd place Shutone. 2nd place Kameme, and 1st place Mia. We'll be going over all the top 16, a couple runs that made it not quite to top 16, but were still pretty good, some players that fell short, all that kind of good stuff. Let's just get right into it. The first player that I want to take a look at is going to be Pasariman, who got upset fairly early on by Lasuda. Also, crazy that they had to play that early on. Again, this tournament was fairly stacked, though I do think one of them was maybe a little bit low if they had to play to get out of pools. But regardless, he did end up losing that, and then had a decent losers run, beating Leaf, Gorika, and Raito before losing to Kome. Pasariman is just such an amazing player in Japan. One of the best Foxes there, though I would say that Kananabe has taken the spot as the best Fox in Japan right now. Light still clearly has best Fox overall, and I honestly don't think anyone will ever take that unless something crazy happens, because that guy is extremely talented. But Kananabe has been doing very well. I think he outplaced Pasariman at this tournament. Yeah, he did. Though Pasariman still a good place for him. It isn't bad. He's still an amazing player, and his highs I still cannot underrate. When Pasariman is playing hot, he is one of the scariest players in Japan. He can get into any top 3 with any player. His conversions sometimes are incredibly clean. His reads are insane. He sometimes doesn't have it, but when he does, he looks unreal. And there was a couple sets of this tournament where we saw that true go to Pasariman, and I really hope that the next one we see him at, we can see him getting into that top 8, because he's just such a joy to watch when he's popping off. And the next player that I want to take a look at is going to be Chicken, who lost his first set of the day, but then had an incredible losers run, beating Shaky along the way as well. He played Shaky very, very early, another big upset right there, but then he just kept going. I think he was the highest placing Diddy at this event, which might seem like kind of like a weird outlier to point out, but there's so many amazing Diddy Kong players in Japan. That's very impressive to be the highest placing one. I think Ryu was just behind him by one place, but yeah, he just lost to Tsubaki. Then we had Chicken beat Sho, we had him beat Shirub, and we had him beat Sunny before losing to Jigaimo. Chicken is a player that doesn't really get talked about enough, but he is a serious threat. Again, just like all the Diddy Kong players in Japan, it's hard not to mention them in like a little bit of a group, because there's so many good ones though. Like every single time one Diddy Kong player does bad, another one will go crazy. They are such a high level of play there. It's actually unreal. Really excited to see if Chicken has another pop-up tournament recently, because he's just one of my favorite Diddy Kongs to watch. Diddy's just a fun character in general to watch, because you gotta love that juicy item play, and we were definitely seeing it from Chicken, because this is a very impressive losers run. And the final player that we're going to take a look at before going over some of the bigger upsets before the top 16, top players that didn't make it in there, all that kind of stuff, is going to be Kurokuma, who beat both Shiki and the Tourney, only losing to Umeki and Shiryuki. Those are both amazing losses and some really good wins, especially that Tourney one, because even though his results have been a little bit off and on, he does have some very high placements, which are going to net him a pretty nice rank, and this is a decent win for Kurokuma to have. Now, I have no idea who they play, and I tried. I couldn't find anything. All that I could find was Danganronpa, and I don't even know. I don't even want to go down that rabbit hole. So if anyone knows who he plays, please let me know down below, because I am very curious. But it doesn't really matter who he plays in this context, because this run, regardless, is very impressive. He should be super happy with it, and I really hope that we get to see more. Because if you're able to beat a Tourney, then you are extremely talented. Now, in terms of players that were supposed to make top 16 that didn't, there wasn't many crazy upsets. Like, I could see Shiryuki in there. A Tourney is a pretty big one. I could see Huto in there. But it was nothing insane. I'd say the biggest one is probably Neo with this 17th place here. But also, Neo fell to this monster of a loser's run by Shogun, which we will go over. Neo is such an amazing player, in contention for best corn player in the world. Some people think he already has that title, and to be honest, they are completely valid at that, because he's just so talented. I think this is really just a growing pain. He will bounce back from this incredibly quick. And 17th at a major, again, not really the end of the world. It's like not an amazing place, but isn't something super outlandish that's going to super like cripple his ranking. He's not going to be able to bounce back from it. He will be absolutely fine. I imagine the next tournament we see him, he'll probably be in the top 8, even if it is a super major, because he does have that level of talent. And only 16 people can unfortunately fit in this top 16, so let's start talking about them right now. In 13th place, we had Kome, Noi, Oi George, and Gachapi. Starting off with Gachapi with a very impressive run, getting wins on Umatsu and Trigger, as well as some other players. This is an insane placement, especially for Lucario. Lucario getting 13th place at a major in 2023 is not something that I thought I'd see. I thought this character was done in the dust, but we've seen Armadillo have success. Now we're seeing Gachapi doing very well. Just incredibly impressed with him, because I don't know how they make Lucario work. You have so so little tools, but yet he managed to do it. Very impressive run out of him. Oi George as well, looking to be that best mid in Japan right now, though Proto has come back, so you might have to wait on that a little bit longer, as well as Omatsu just being cracked. But he got wins on Takara, Kept, and Earth. Again, Oi George, the last two tournaments of him, he's been very impressive. I've been looking forward to watching Oi George play. One, because his name is Oi George, but two, he's just been getting way, way better as of late, so super excited to see where he goes. The other player we have is Noi with wins on Shiryuki and Shirub. I think I'm saying that right. Noi, one of the best Allmar players in Japan right now, and it's tough, again, when you have someone like Shutone, who's another very good Allmar, as well as Subo. Like, people are going to know the Allmar matchup, but he still manages to make a way. Again, falling to Shogun's insane losers run is not something to be sad about as well. And our final 13th place finisher is Kome with wins on Pisariman and TKM. This is probably like the most typical of the 13th place finishers. We've seen Kome in this spot a lot. We've even seen him higher, maybe a little lower, but sometimes. But Kome is definitely a top 8 player. All these players are top 8 caliber. Kome is incredible. I'd say the best Shulk in the world right now, even though Jared is King is very good, as well as there being a couple other good Shulk players that have been making waves. Kome is just crazy. His consistency isn't like super on par like it used to be, but it's still pretty good. He's not getting like abysmal placements. This 13th place here is very strong. Got a couple good wins along the way. He should be very happy with that, and defending that best Shulk title, it's not an easy one, but you know what? I think he's doing a pretty good job of it. In 9th place, we had Aka, Shogun, Kananabe, and Jagaimo, starting off with Jagaimo with wins on Gachapi, Chicken, and Shiryuki. Jagaimo, definitely the best Palutena player in Japan right now, and he has been for a little bit, but he's looking to be the best Paulo in the world because this is one of the better results we've had from Paulo as of late, and Palutena is a character that we've seen kind of falling to the wayside, and I think it's because the X factor on Palutena is incredibly weak. It is very hard to just cheese stocks in the game, and I think the perfect example of this is Collision. Incineroar is a great character in tournament because when your reads are going right, you are going to rock. Sometimes you're going to get rocked, sometimes you're going to destroy. Palutena is just kind of one of those characters where, like, you're never really going to get rocked, you're not going to have these super inconsistent placements, but it's really hard to be getting those peaks as well. So in 9th place for Jagaimo, also Palutena is definitely not bad by the way, but it is still something that you have to consider. 9th place for him, very impressive. Then we have Kananabe, again, best Fox in Japan, at least for right now, with wins on Oi George, Huto, TKM, and Sin. Kananabe, he has had such a meteoric rise as of late. I have been so impressed by him. I really think by the end of the year, he will be top 10 in Japan, if not higher, potentially top 30 in the world. He has just been an absolute treat to watch. Like, Fox gameplay is always something that's sick to see, but his Fox especially, it's just so quick. It is really enjoyable. We'll get back to Shogun because, my lord, that losers run is ridiculous. And our other one is Aka with wins on Kome, Tsubaki, and Kept. Aka, best hero in the world right now. By far, his hero is just so crazy. The spell usage is unreal. I love how he plays with the buffs. And I think that is why he's the best hero, because buff usage is so incredibly important for that character, and he just does it so well. Aka's such a threat. One of those players, again, that could break into Japan's top 10 if he's not there, to be honest. Like, when he plays at his best, Aka can beat literally anyone. But our final 9th place finisher of Shogun had this monster losers run. He also lost in round 1, and he said, you know what, that's fine. Then he got wins on Mutakin, Trigger, Lai, Neo, Noi, and finally fell to Omeki, and he lost in round 1. His first set that he played the tournament, he lost. Just made a crazy losers run. Shogun, so impressive. One of the best Snake players in the world, and there's a lot of good Snakes. We had a lot of good Snake performances this weekend as well. We had 13th from MBD and a 9th place from Apollo Kage. Now we have a 9th place from Shogun. Everyone is eating well in the Snake community. Super happy for that one. Shogun, an amazing player, wants to be taking that best Snake in Japan from Dio, though I think Dio will probably hold on to it at least for a little bit longer unless Shogun keeps putting up these reps, which honestly he could because he is extremely talented. In 7th place, we had both Umeki and Suinoko, starting off with Umeki, who got wins on Tsubaki, Takara, and Shogun. Umeki, he's just so consistent. It is crazy. His turnip punishes are unreal. Best Daisy player in the world, and it ain't even close. And then you, of course, still have Muniz as the best Peach, but that's another discussion, of course. Umeki is just, he's absolutely incredible. So consistent. Such a major threat in Japan that you always have to look out for. But a player that had the run of their life so far, because I think they're going to keep having these, is Suinoko with wins on Jagaimo, Kananabe, and Kome. I believe this is their first ever top 8 in Ultimate, at least at a major. I could be wrong, but this is one of their best performances ever regardless. He played out of his mind this tournament, looking to be the best Youngling player in the world. And honestly, that spot's kind of in the open right now because we haven't seen a ton from the Younglings as of late. You know, we haven't seen Jadizel, I think, since Umabora or Genesis, which is a little bit ago. We haven't seen Toast or Skills. I think we saw them, one of them or both of them, at Frosty Fausting, though that was just a regional, and they didn't perform as well as this run from Suinoko. He's been looking very strong. Absolutely amazing player. Really hoping that he can continue to push the meta of that character because Youngling is so broken and people just don't realize it for some reason. In 5th place, we had Niyotono and Gak. Niyotono with wins on Umeki, Oi George, Aka, and Suinoko. Niyotono was able to get into top 8 through the winner's side. Also, something I should have mentioned way earlier, all of the tournament was best of 3 up until the top 8, so that is definitely something to consider. But then he did end up losing to Niyotono, or Niyotono lost to Miya, tournament winner. Can't feel too bad about that one. And I'm just crazy. Can't feel too bad about that one. Niyotono, again, such a consistent threat. He's so good. And he's doing it with Pichu, which feels like a character that shouldn't really be consistent, but I kind of talked about this earlier with Incineroar. The things that he's good at, he's really good at. So sometimes crazy run, sometimes bad run. This is one of Niyotono's crazy runs. He was just hitting things. The combos were working. The damage output on Pichu is ridiculous if you can get it. Niyotono's such an amazing player. The last bastion of this character, to be honest, because every other Pichu player either dropped the character full out, doesn't go to anything anymore, or uses him as a secondary, which does hurt my heart a little bit, I can't lie. And our other one in Gak with wins on Suinoko, Omatsu, Neo, and Kananabe. I would say Gak has secured himself as the best nest, at least for a little bit with this placement, because those Sen and Syrup are pretty good, even though Syrup might be like a Steve main now, because his Steve was crazy. I don't even know what's going on there, but regardless, Gak is unreal. He's such an amazing player. Again, we've talked about a lot of Japan's consistent players in this video, but they're all appearing in this top 8. Do you want to know why? Spoilers, it's because they're very consistent players. They don't get bad placements, and Gak is no exception to that. He played out of his mind. Super impressed with him. The losses are amazing as well. Kanemaime one, that really doesn't hurt you at all. Very, very happy with Gak. I'm really excited to see the next tournament that he goes to. In 4th place, we have I'm with wins on Lai, Gachapi, Aka, Umeki, and Niyotono. In order to play Sheik at the level that I'm does, you need surgical precision. You need to be working a full 9 to 5 grinding this character just to have that maximum efficiency, and I'm is working overtime because my lord, he played out of his mind. Lost to Shutone in the winner's quarters match, won a pretty decent loser's run as well. Again, Umeki and Niyotono, 2 very impressive wins, only losing to, again, Shutone and Kameme. Not bad losses at all, amazing wins, one of the best performances we've ever seen from him, just from Sheik in general. This is just such a crazy run for him. Super, super happy for him. I know I'm such an amazing player. I really hope that we can see him travel one day because I just want to see more Sheik. Call me a little biased. Sheik is such a cool character when they're played right, and oh my lord, does he play it right. And in 3rd place, we have Shutone, which may seem like a little bit of a low performance from him, but honestly, after the Kagaribi one and the Meisumu one, I know he should be happy with this, because this is just back to your old self. 3rd place for Shutone. Oh, that feels low. It's like things are back to normal. Also, of course, it's not low. And with wins on Manzuko, Jagaimo, Ayam, and Kameme, Shutone is just, he's incredible. He is still top 10 in the world. 2 bad performances I don't think are going to knock you out quite yet. Though maybe they might have knocked him out to like 11th or 12th and then put him back in. The ranking doesn't really matter. There's like 20 top 10 players at this point. But just Shutone's back. He played out of his mind. Still did get a 3rd place though. I know he can do higher. And I think the next time we see him, he might take the whole thing. In 2nd place, we had Kameme with wins on Gorika, Huto, Umeki, Gakt, Ayam, and Shutone. Now, this is nothing new for Kameme. He's done this a million times before. He'll do it a million times again. Kameme is absolutely unreal. Definitely top 5, top 10 caliber in Japan right now. Though I will say, he's developed a little bit of a 2nd place curse. He has not been able to get that big major win yet with Sora. Though luckily for him, or not luckily, he earned it. He got that big win at the start of Ultimate. I think he won like the 2nd Umabora with Mega Man or something. It was a crazy run for him, but he has that Ultimate Major win at least under his belt. But I know he must be juicing with it for Sora because he is so impressive. He definitely deserves it. He's of that caliber, and he's going to get it probably pretty soon. But there's always going to be someone gatekeeping in his way that he has to beat, and the person that beat him this tournament, it looking like it's going to be a little bit before that because my lord, Miya was looking clean. He was looking scary. He got wins on Sunny, Noi, Gakt, Niyotono, Shutone, and Kameme. Now, I've tried to record this part multiple times. What will end up happening is I just keep calling Miya good, cracked, goated, all the actions I've been using through this video over and over and over again. But my lord, it is true. He's so talented. He just looks so scary. He looks so scary this tournament. 100% top 10, top 15 caliber player in the world right now. Even though, again, he had a little bit of a rough Kagaribi, but then he bounced back. He won Meisuma from the winner's side. He won this tournament from the winner's side. And most of Miya's wins, except his first major win, I think the rest of them are all from the loser's side, where he had like a pretty crazy loser's run. Not these last 2. He's been looking dominant. He looks like a major threat. He wants to be the best player in Japan. And honestly, he could definitely take that spot from Akla because he's just been looking so clean. And I thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. No, we didn't go over a ton of players this weekend because I didn't watch Seibugeki as closely as I'd like to cover some of the more major upsets or like some of the list known upsets. But if I missed anything, please let me know down below. Any mispronunciations, all that kind of stuff, just leave them down below. Sports have been absolutely unreal. Video ideas are always appreciated. And I will see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.